Hello students, welcome to my class. So I'll be taking up the paper that is organic synthetic methods. Under this, we will start with unit 1 that is oxidation reactions. So you've already studied in your previous classes. You know what is oxidation. It is nothing but addition of oxygen, or you can also define it as removal of hydrogen, or loss of electrons is nothing but oxidation. So what is an oxidizing agent? Tell me. Oxidizing agent is a substance that can oxidize another species, but what happens to that oxidizing agent? It itself undergoes reduction. So oxidizing agent, these are species which can carry out oxidation of another substance or another species, but itself undergoes reduction during this process. So we'll be studying about some important oxidizing agents, four of them, that is lead tetraacetate, osmium tetroxide, peracids, and periodic acid. In this video, I've covered about two, that is lead tetraacetate and osmium tetroxide. We will start with lead tetraacetate, that is LTA. This is a structure of lead tetraacetate with lead in the center, and four acetate groups are attached to the lead. That's why it is lead tetra, that is four acetate groups, lead tetraacetate. How do you synthesize lead tetraacetate? When Pb3O4 is made to react with acetic acid, you get this oxidant, that is lead tetraacetate. So what is the properties of lead tetraacetate? It is used in functional group transformation, and it is also a very strong oxidizing agent. So we'll be studying some of its application, how and in which reaction it is used as an oxidizing agent. So the first application of lead tetraacetate is in the oxidation of alcohol. You can take any species, any alcohol species. Here I have taken propanol. Why is it prop? Because there is three carbon atoms, CH3, CH2, CH2. So it is prop, and there is OH functional group, which is alcohol functional group attached. So it is all. So it is propanol. So I'm taking propanol and alcohol on oxidation, it yields aldehyde. So propanol on oxidation with oxidizing agent LTA, that is lead tetraacetate, gives you propanaldehyde. So in organic chemistry, what is very important is the mechanism of the reaction. So let's understand how this reaction proceed. I've explained the mechanism in two steps. Step number one is you take propanol. What happens here is this OH hydroxyl group is there, no? This bond between O and H, this bond shifts on oxygen atom. Now you know this, that whenever there is bond shifting, what is bond shifting, students? Nothing but the electrons involved in that bond formation, they are shifting. Whenever the bond shifts towards one atom, that atom will get a negative charge, meaning to say that atom becomes electron rich. And whenever it is shifting away from one atom, like here in this case it is away from hydrogen, so hydrogen H will get a positive charge. So we can also tell it as H goes out as H plus ion, and this bond shifts on oxygen, giving a negative charge on oxygen. Okay, that is our first reactant. Next is our lead tetraacetate, which is used as a catalyst in this reaction. One of the acetate group leaves the lead tetraacetate molecule. Now these red lines here indicate bond shifting or bond breaking. Okay, so this OCOCH3, one of it leaves the lead tetraacetate molecule. So Pb gets a partial positive charge. Now there's a positive charge on Pb and there's a negative charge on oxygen here. So what happens? Directly join this Pb to this oxygen, and I've written it here, that is CH3, CH2, CH2O, Pb, and three acetate group. What has happened to the fourth group, fourth acetate group? That has left. And what is the byproduct we have here? H had left. Here OCOCH3 had left. They combine together and form CH3COOH. Now this is our step number one. Is it complete? No, we have to get an aldehyde here. So we move on to step number two, that is take that same molecule. Now what happens? One more H leaves the molecule as H plus ion. So this bond is there, no? It will shift here and C will form a double bond with oxygen. And on this side, one more acetate group, OCOCH3, will leave the Pb atom. Okay. So Pb will get what charge? When this bond is breaking here, Pb will get a positive charge. To neutralize that positive charge, what will Pb do? It will take up electrons from this bond. So that positive charge on Pb is neutralized. Since it took up electrons from this bond will break here, and oxygen will not get a positive charge because there is one more bond formation from this side. So what are the byproducts? First of all, one H has left here, one acetate group has left here. Both of them will combine and form CH3COOH. Pb has there's a bond that's broken here, so we will get Pb, who is left with two acetate groups. So PbOAC twice, that is two acetate group. And what is there here? This box, can you see? That is our main product, that is CH3CH2C double bond O bond H, which is nothing but CH3CH2CHO, which is an aldehyde. So we have got a propanaldehyde. Our second application is oxidation of vicinal diol. Now, what is a vicinal diol? Tell me. There is two OH groups that is attached to neighboring carbon atom. These two are neighboring carbon atom and two OH group attached to them. So such a species where two OH group, diol, two alcohol groups, two alcohol functional groups attached to neighboring carbon atom, such a species is called as a vicinal diol. Okay, so what does vicinal diol give on oxidation? We are taking our lead tetraacetate. So you have already studied mechanism in the previous reaction. Mechanism was almost the same for all the reaction here. So what happens here? Two acetate groups will leave from lead tetraacetate. Because of this acetate group leaving, Pb gets one positive charge, and once again there's one more acetate group leaving, so Pb gets one more positive charge. Here what happens to the diol molecule? Tell me. Two hydrogen, two H leaves as H plus ion. Usually H will leave the molecule as H plus ion. Because of H going out as H plus, both these oxygens will get a negative charge on them. So Pb has two positive charges here. Both these oxygen have negative charge on each of them. So there is a formation of a cyclic intermediate. Nothing, you have to just connect this oxygen to this Pb and this oxygen to this Pb. Now, can you predict the byproduct? Yes, CH3COOH. What? You have two molecules of CH3COOH, which is your byproduct, and the main product that you've got, which is a cyclic intermediate. Now, this reaction is not over yet. Now, cyclic intermediates are usually very unstable. So to stabilize, bond breaking continues. Here, this bond is there, no? It will shift here to form a double bond between carbon and oxygen, and this bond will shift here to form a double bond between this carbon and this oxygen. Now because of this bond shifting here, that is, this bond is shifting away from Pb, so Pb will get a positive charge, and in order to neutralize that positive charge, what happens? This bond here shifts on Pb, so that a positive charge that Pb had acquired gets neutralized, and there's a bond breaking here, here, and over here. So what do you get? C double bond O, that is two molecules of C double bond O, and what is Pb left with? PbOCOCH3 twice. So this is the second example. Now the next example is oxidation of acids. Here we have taken COOH, one molecule containing COOH group, which is a carboxylic acid group, you know that. So how does acids get oxidized? Acids on oxidation with lead tetraacetate, they give us alkenes. Let us see how this reaction proceeds. So I've taken this molecule, and here the H atom has gone out as H plus ion. Okay, so what has happened? This bond is shifted onto carbon. The electrons of this bond is shifted to this carbon. H has left, as H plus ion. So carbon will get a partial negative charge. And we have taken lead tetraacetate. Once again, one acetate group leaves. So Pb will get a positive charge. So this acetate group will combine with this H to give CH3COOH, which is the first byproduct here. And what are we getting? Pb has a positive charge, carbon here has a negative charge, so it just gets attached to Pb. So this is what we get. Pb OAC, that is only three acetate group are left because one has already left the molecule. Now next step is same thing. I have just opened the chain and written. So PbOAC twice and one acetate group I've just opened it and written so that it is easy for you to understand. So what happens in this step is that once again the CH3COO group leaves as CH3COO minus. So because it leaves as CH3COO minus, what is the charge on Pb? Pb gets a partial positive charge. Now, in order to neutralize that positive charge, Pb takes up electrons from this bond and this bond breaks here. Because Pb is taking up electrons from this bond, what happens to this carbon atom? It becomes electron deficient. That is, it gets a partial positive charge. Now, we have this molecule, this part of the molecule, that is CH3CO minus, that has left. So one bond is broken over here. As I said, these red lines indicate bond breaking. Okay. And here there's one more bond that is broken, and Pb has gone out as PbOAC twice. What are we left with? Carbon, this carbon which has a positive charge on it, and then this group, that is COOH. I have just opened the COOH here and written. Now, once again, there's one more hydrogen that will leave the molecule as H plus ion, and this bond will shift this side. So it is C double bond O, C double bond O, and there's one more bond breaking here. What is this part called? C double bond O, C double bond O. That's nothing but your carbon dioxide. And here there's one more bond breaking because carbon here has a positive charge, so this bond shifts over here, hence the positive charge will go off from the carbon. We get C double bond C, which is an alkene, and what is the byproduct? That is carbon dioxide. And also you know that one CH3COO minus group is still there in the reaction medium, and we have one H plus which has gone out. These two combine together to form what? CH3COOH. So, what is the next application of lead tetraacetate? That is the fourth one, oxidation of amines. So, here you can see I've taken an amine. Amine functional group is bond NH2. Okay, so RCH2NH2, we have taken an amine, and on oxidation, amines they yield nitriles in the presence of lead tetraacetate. How is the mechanism? I have just opened the chain and written RCH bond H, and NH2 I have just written it as NH bond H. So both of these hydrogen atoms they leave as H plus ions, and the lead tetraacetate, two acetate groups are removed from lead tetraacetate. So the byproduct is 2CH3COOH, and there's a bond formation between this carbon and nitrogen. So it gives a double bond. Once again, that same step is repeated. I've not shown it. These two hydrogen atoms once again leave, and there's a triple bond formation between carbon and nitrogen, which is a nitrile molecule. Okay, and fifth application is oxidation of alpha hydroxy keto compound. What is alpha hydroxy keto compound? Here you can see this is a alpha carbon and this is a beta carbon. To the alpha carbon, hydroxy group is attached. So it is called as a alpha hydroxy keto compound. Okay. So this on oxidation, what does it give? It gives ketone and carboxylic acid group. Okay. And oxidation of diketo compound, one more example under this. Diketo is what? Two ketone groups attached. So this is a diketo compound, you can see. On oxidation with lead tetraacetate gives you a carboxylic group. So that is all the applications under lead tetraacetate. What and all did we study under lead tetraacetate? We studied its synthesis, then we studied its application, that is, it is used in oxidation of an alcohol to give an aldehyde. It is used to convert a diol and give you a ketone, and then it is used in the oxidation of acids to give alkene. Now, in all these reactions, you might have observed that the functional group changes. That's why we studied under application, that is, it is used in the transformation of functional group. So in all these examples, you can observe that the functional group is changing. What was the fourth reaction? Oxidation of amines. Amines, they get converted into nitrate and so on. So these are some of the important application of lead tetraacetate as an oxidizing agent. So next we'll be studying about our second oxidizing agent, that is osmium tetroxide. So osmium tetroxide has osmium that is attached in the center with 4 oxygen atoms that is attached. So tetraoxide. So osmium can have different oxidation states, that is +8, +6 and +4. Next is preparation of osmium tetroxide. Osmium, when it is heated with excess of oxygen, you get osmium tetroxide, and compared to lead tetraacetate, this is a comparatively mild oxidant, and plus it has osmium, so it's a toxic compound and it is expensive. So its application, let's study its application. First one is in the hydroxylation of alkenes. That is, what is hydroxylation? Addition of hydroxyl groups. What are hydroxyl? These OH groups are nothing but your hydroxyl group. So this alkene, which was double bonded species, getting converted into single bond, and there is hydroxylation. So you have studied this species previously. What is it called? It's a vicinal diol. Two OH groups attached to two neighboring carbon atoms. So it is a vicinal diol in the presence of our oxidizing agent, that is osmium tetroxide and water. Okay, let us study the mechanism of this reaction. First, take your alkene. Now, I've shifted this one bond is shifted on the second carbon atom. So, what charge does it get? It gets a partial negative charge because it is electron rich. And this carbon, because the bond is shifting away from it, it becomes electron deficient. So, it gets a partial positive charge. Okay, and now let's come to osmium tetroxide. What is happening here? One bond is shifting on oxygen, so it is getting a negative charge, and osmium will get a positive charge. And from this side, one bond from oxygen is shifting towards osmium, so this positive charge is neutralized, but this oxygen is becoming electron deficient, so it is getting a positive charge. Once again, I'll tell you what is happening here. One bond is shifting away from osmium, one bond is shifting towards osmium. Here this oxygen is getting a negative charge, this oxygen is getting a positive charge. Now all you have to do is attach the negatively charged oxygen to positively charged carbon and positively charged oxygen to negatively charged carbon. So once again you get a cyclic intermediate, that is an osmate ester, and you know that cyclic intermediates, they are highly unstable, so they will immediately break. So what is happening in the second step? In the second step, we are taking our second catalyst that we took, that is water. Now you know that water dissociates to give H plus and OH minus ion. Now here, look carefully. What is happening here is nothing but this bond between osmium and oxygen. This bond is getting shifted towards this oxygen. So what is the charge that oxygen is getting? Minus. And there's a bond breakage here, since both the electrons of the bond are getting pulled towards oxygen. Okay. And this bond between carbon and oxygen, that is also broken, and it is shifting towards this oxygen, because of which this carbon is getting a plus charge and this osmium is getting a negative this oxygen is getting a negative charge. All right, and wherever there is minus charge, H group will go and attach itself there. Okay, so there's a minus charge on this oxygen, so one H will come and attach here. So what will it give? It will give an OH. And there's a minus charge over here, one H will come and attach itself there. What will it give? It will give one more OH. So this OH is attached to this carbon, this OH is attached to this osmium. Okay, and then there's a plus charge on this carbon, so one OH minus will come and attach itself over there, and there's a plus charge on osmium, so one more OH minus will come and attach itself to this osmium. So what is the final product that we are getting? We have a diol that we obtain by the end of this reaction. Okay, and then the second application is oxidation of alkyne. What is an alkyne, students? It has triple bond. So this is an alkyne species that I've shown. It on oxidation with the osmium tetroxide gives a diketo compound. Two ketone groups you can see here. So it gives a diketo compound. Let's understand the mechanism of this reaction. So I've elaborated it and written. You can see two osmium tetroxide groups that adding to one alkyne species. So first, let me talk about osmium tetroxide. What is happening here? One bond shifting away from osmium, one bond shifting towards osmium. So this oxygen gets a negative charge and this oxygen gets a positive charge. Same thing here, one bond shifting away from osmium, one bond shifting towards osmium. So this oxygen is getting a positive. Wherever it's shifting away from that oxygen, it is getting a positive charge. Wherever the bond is shifting towards oxygen, that oxygen is getting a negative charge. All right, and then let's talk about this, that is your alkyne species. Alkyne, you know, has there's a triple bond between two carbon atoms. Now let me talk from the left side. You can see this bond, the first bond of that triple bond. This bond is shifting towards this carbon. All right, so if this bond is shifting towards the second carbon, let's say this is carbon number 1 and this is carbon number 2. If the bond is shifting towards carbon number 2, what charge does carbon number 2 get? It gets a negative charge. What charge will carbon number 1 get? It will get a positive charge. Okay, and then that was the first bond of the three bonds. Now second bond of the two bonds that are left, it is shifting towards carbon number 1. So this time carbon number 1 gets a minus charge and carbon number 2 gets a positive charge. Now all you have to do is attach the positive centers with the negative centers. Okay, so this positive charged carbon will attach here, and this negatively charged carbon will attach to oxygen with a positive charge. Same thing on this side. So what do you get? Once again, you get a cyclic intermediate which is not stable. So now what happens here? These two carbon atoms are there. This is a cyclic intermediate that you see. Although it looks complex, it is really, really easy. All you have to do is just attach the negative part to the positive part. Okay, so now what happens? Both these carbons, one bond gets shifted towards them, one bond gets shifted away from them. Same thing here, one bond shifting towards it, one bond shifting away from it. So here you can see this bond breaks here and shifts towards this oxygen and carbon bond. So what do you get? R C double bond O, because this bond has broken here and shifted this side. Correct. And what is happening here? This bond has broken here and this has got shifted that side. So it is OS double bond O, double bond O, double bond O. Okay, and once again there's a bond breaking here and it's got shifted here. So there's a double bond formation between C and O, and this bond has shifted away. So it is OS double bond O, double bond O, and double bond O. All these lines 1, 2, 3 and 4 indicate bond breaking, sites of bond breakage. Okay, so what do you get now? Here Cr, and there is a C double bond O because this bond has shifted, correct? So R, C double bond O, and there's one more C double bond O, R dash. Follow the cursor, R, C double bond O, C double bond O, R dash. Okay, and what else is left? The two osmium groups, OS, double bond O, double bond O, double bond O. So 2OS O3 thrice is left. Okay. So these are the two applications of osmium tetroxide as an oxidizing agent, which was the first one, that is hydroxylation of alkenes to give diol, and the second one, that is oxidation of alkyne. So I'll be discussing the other two oxidizing agent in my next video, which I'll be uploading soon. Till then, I request you to practice these reaction mechanisms thoroughly. So thank you, students. Thank you for attending my class, and stay safe. Bye.